It's fun.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? You're tuned in to the Buckeye Cast, coming at you loud and proud, bringing strong opinions and salty humor to Ohio State football. These fellas were born and bred in the Buckeye State, and their brand of banter is guaranteed to entertain and excite you. But if you're not a Buckeye, don't bother. Visit us at thebuckeyecast.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The Buckeye Cast to stay up to date on all things Ohio State football. And be sure to subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Now here's your host, Joe Warwick.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? Here we are, back again. This is a monster. This is our 2017 recruiting class blowout extravaganza, recruiting breakdown, whatever you want to call it, recruiting monster show. We are going to break down every single recruit from the 2017 class. Jeff and Sean are going to come in with their hot takes on each guy, and we're going to discuss if we think these guys might play this year, any of them. So let's break that down. And first I wanted to talk about Herb and this historical class. Like Herb's famous quote that he used it again on Wednesday was, if they're keeping score, we want to win the damn thing. And with recruiting rankings, they're keeping freaking score, and we won the damn thing, in my opinion. I know Alabama won the first, the number one class overall, but we won in historical fashion the per player rating. And I don't think that's going to be duplicated ever again.
Was that the highest ever of any team?
94, I believe it was. They compared the USC team of, was it 03? Was that, Jeff, was that the year with Bush and those guys, that class?
I believe so, because it would have been with the 06 title game that Vince Young won.
Yeah.
So that would have made them, that was Bush's junior year.
Right. So I'm pretty sure
we might be off a year, but yeah, the class that brought in Reggie Bush and those receivers and Lindale White and
that's what this class is compared to, anyways, as we muddle our way through that one. So we got
we don't have to buy any. I don't think we bought any parents' houses.
No,
maybe we did. Hopefully not.
And signing day was pretty drama free for us. We were hoping for Marvin Wilson, and we hoped in one hand and shit in the other, and the other one filled up first. So we just had Thayer Munford commit on signing day. I think if your program is doing a good job of recruiting kids and your coaching staff is doing a good job of selling the program, you shouldn't have to be on pins and needles on signing day as a program. You should have your class buttoned up like Ohio State did. And like I said, an all-timer, potentially. So just wanted to get my 2 cents in on that. You guys have any takes on these signing day commitments?
Just one thing about Thayer Munford. I heard Coach Stud, he wouldn't let Urban go as far as passing on Munford. He almost, not demanded, but he didn't want to give up on Munford at all. I'm not sure the story of why Munford was waiting till signing day. I don't know if he what the interest was from other schools, if he was a heavy lean anywhere.
He had already committed a few days prior, but it wasn't publicized.
Well, didn't his offer, didn't it come, kind of late in the game? And he, Coach Stud was probably saying, "Kid, hang in there. I'm going to get you a spot. Yeah. But we were filling up so quick early. And, that's probably why he waited. And then you get this late in the process, you're like, well, I waited this fucking long. Ohio State knows I'm going there. Might as well run it out and get some Buckeye coverage on national TV.
That was
nice.
Yeah, it did seem like it was almost a foregone conclusion that he was going to sign with Ohio State. It didn't seem like the coaches were really too anxious or worried about him signing. It might have laid out exactly how you said, Sean. I went back and watched some of the show, the ESPN show they had. They were covering 5 hours of with Joe Tess, and they had Les Miles and David Pollack on there. And Les Miles did offer a lot of insight as far as the different scenarios of like what was going down with the Alabama kids. The one kid committed early in the morning, and then the other kid canceled his announcement because Bama wasn't going to have room for him or some shit. And then so Les Miles was actually he was given some background on
like that ever stopped an SEC team before not have room.
Yeah, I think the dude ended up having a gray shirt, so he's still in the program.
Yeah, Jerez Parks.
What is the gray shirt for our uneducated audience and me?
The gray shirt is where you have to pay your own way for your first year or first semester. I'm pretty sure it's full year, and I believe you can practice with the team, but you're not on scholarship, so you don't count against the roster, the 85.
Yeah,
but you're pretty much saying when a scholarship opens up, it's yours,
like a walk-on. Yeah,
kind of like a preferred walk-on. Yeah, whereas look, you're in line. Say there's 85 scholarships. You're number 86. So as soon as something happens with one of those 85, you're in.
Yeah. They'll push him kind of.
Then,
or they'll push him.
Does then when it opens up next year, then you get one of those scholarships.
Exactly, and they'll push him into that class. All schools do this kind of. It looks kind of shady in my opinion, but all schools do this where you will take a couple of red shirts from last year and put them into next season's class, kind of reshuffling the deck almost for each class. I heard somebody talking about Michigan doing that this year because they had so many people going. They are kind of reshuffling the official 2017 class. Some will be part of the 2016 class because they came in early, in January or something. So it's kind of a really messy situation, and it's confusing as shit, anyways. So
I think a lot of that, I think it comes down to your player personnel guy. That's because I always wondered, like, what do they need a player personnel guy for? Like in the pros, it's the guy that like the GM that goes out and works deals and stuff like that. But I think in college, it's the scholarship management. There's a lot of fluctuation. It's not all just cut and dry. 20 guys this year, 25 guys this year. They're at this grade. There's a lot of that moving up and down in the gray shirts, and I think it happens at all.
There does seem a lot of that, doesn't there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like having a good account.
Because they magically get there.
Real fancy with your
year.
numbers on tax returns.
Exactly.
That's right.
You got to know how to work the numbers.
Yeah.
They're just numbers. So. Calm down.
Right.
But back to our signing day. Just to recap that. Just it was nice to see Munford. Like I said, it seemed like Coach Stud was really emphatic about making sure that we got him in. Lost out on Tefele and Wilson. Neither one looked like a heavy lean coming down the stretch. That I saw that Steve Wiltfong from, I think that's how you pronounce it, from 24/7. Mm-hmm. Dude won 89% of his crystal balls. I think it was 89%.
He's got huge crystal balls.
He's fucking flexing them on everybody. So, he was saying he was dead on with Wilson down the stretch, whereas Ohio State, at one point, and then it moved. I think he's had Florida State, but I don't know. I thought LSU was going to have him for sure.
They had
I thought he was going to be LSU.
They had like 69%.
You start getting that good, man. FBI might start investigating you.
Right. So we got the griddle fired up on high, and you guys are going to spit some hot takes for me as we run down this list. First off, we're going 5 stars first, and that's a lot. A lot of 5 stars here. We're going Jeffrey Okudah, cornerback from Grand Prairie, Texas, 6'2", 190. Jeff, what do you like about Mr. Okudah?
Size. Just listening to the kid talk. Before when he committed, first thing he talked about was the Fisher Business School. I mean, in that letter to his mom, Herb's getting good kids. We're not just pulling gangbangers, from the South. You know what I'm saying? We're getting in some kids that got their shit straight. 6'2", 190. I've heard him listed at safety. Could play safety or corner. I'd like to see him stay at corner as long as the foot speed's there. But I picture this kid on the field next year. not redshirting, maybe not starting, but I don't think you can afford to redshirt him. I think he's going to be in the 2 deep because I think he's, body wise, he's there already. There's not a lot of work to be done there, and he seems like a really smart kid. So I'm excited about Okudah, big time.
No, I couldn't agree more. This kid is, it's where you're going to put him at corner or safety. They could probably throw another 15 pounds on this kid. His size, he's 6'2". He could hold that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
This kid's a crazy athlete out of Grand Prairie, Texas. I mean, like you said, Jeff, this kid's already got the man body. He's bigger than any corner we've got on our roster right now. And
Yep.
I'm with you. This kid is already in school, for one, so he's getting all this winter workout shit. He's going to get spring ball, and either him or another, I think, is going to be a starting cornerback at Ohio State before this year's over.
Yeah, I lean that direction also. I think we all feel the same way about Okudah. As Mom just passed away last week, that was too bad. So
I didn't know that. Sorry to hear, man.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I hope he gets through that. That's some tough shit.
yeah. So moving along.
He's got a good support system, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
he comes from a great family. Like you said, Jeff, and Herb pointed it out on signing day in his press conferences. Every time they put a mic in front of him on TV and everything, he pointed out how great all these kids are, and I think that's important. People just look at measurables and stats and shit like that, but good quality people that you can trust they're going to do the right thing and not get into trouble. So, okay, let's move on to Chase Young, 6'5", 251, defensive end from Maryland. Another 5-star, of course. Jeff, your take on Chase Young?
Oh, huge potential. That edge rusher that we need to have. Don't see our D line is, everybody returning and Sprinkle coming off the injury. It's going to be hard for him to see the field a lot this year. But I could picture him not redshirting though, and just playing a lot of scrub time with all the blowouts we're going to have. Don't see him cracking the 2 deep though, just because of the amount of depth we have already. But he should be a dominant player for 2 or 3 years for us. I expect him to be that first round draft pick, edge rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, barring health concerns. But
yeah. Henry,
good kid.
This kid's crazy. He had 118 tackles as a D end in high school, 37 for loss and 19 sacks. I mean, put up crazy numbers. Now I know DeMatha is a pretty good powerhouse out there. They've got
they play across the
playing some
country.
decent
It's not like
schools, right?
yeah, they play
he wasn't
top-notch
playing
talent.
Calvert and he was playing full big time talent. So huge. Yeah, he wasn't a 5-star. He moved up like after his season. Like it seemed like he skyrocketed. He kept moving up the rankings. Like he kept getting
with those numbers,
ranked higher and higher.
Yeah. So great. You guys think he plays this year?
I think he plays, but it's going to be like mop-up duty and stuff. I don't see him making the 2 deep, just because of the amount of depth we have. He's, and Jonathan Cooper's coming off a red shirt.
Yeah,
he was a 5-star DN from last year. We're loaded. That's the one position we are completely loaded at. Yeah. That front.
I don't even think he plays. I think he probably redshirts.
Barring
they
injury.
could. I mean, he'd have to go in after Cooper, I would think. There's got to be someone else that's been in the program a couple years that in a blowout they'd like to get in for some time. I don't know.
I say this every show. Don't forget my guy, run away Slade.
Yeah, you love.
So
well, it's easy to forget about when he never fucking plays.
Well, like you guys said though, there's a shitload of depth and guys that have been in the program for a couple years now. So Yeah, things are gonna come to a head at some point with all these bodies and talent.
For sure.
And with him only coming in the fall, yeah, I mean, he may possibly redshirt, but but I think he's one of those guys you're looking at leaving after his redshirt sophomore year.
Not an early
Lee Cook or somebody like that. So we probably 2 years of high level production. I think I would imagine.
Yeah.
From.
I mean, we could put 3 or 4 ends into the draft next year.
We probably will. Seriously, I bet 3 easily.
Right?
So, yeah. So let's keep this train rolling. Baron Browning, another one of my favorites. It's hard not to make favorites of the 5 stars, huh? This kid, 6'2", 230, coming out of Kennedale, Texas. This kid is, in my opinion, another one of those plug and play right now kind of guys. Sean, your take on Browning?
I think Browning could be our next Raekwon almost, just a kid that comes in. We're pretty deep there right now, but I wouldn't be surprised that this kid gets on the field a little bit. He looks amazing on tape.
Yeah, by being the next Raekwon, you mean you're going to ride him for 3 years?
I think that he's going to contribute this year. And we didn't ride Raekwon his first year. He still had what's his name in front of him.
Grant. Yeah.
Splitting time learning it. I think Browning learns possibly from Baker and then dominates for 2 years and goes pro. 3 and done.
Nice. I like it. Jeff?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I think he definitely makes the 2D this year. Probably not in the middle. He might be eventually after Booker might be placed in the middle, but he's going to be, I would imagine, backing up Jerome Baker. But I definitely see him on the field. Special teams, I think he's going to be a monster. The kid's ready to play now. He is an early enrollee. Coach Mick's already got him. Going.
Good kid too, I think.
Yeah, well spoken.
Solid kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 2 deep, coming out of spring.
I agree 100%.
I think they got him penciled in, and depending on you never know with injuries.
Yep.
Or somebody has a backup of games. I think we'll see him on the field plenty this year, and I don't think we'll be disappointed.
I agree 100%. I bet you he'll be a special teams nightmare out there at 6'2", 230 already. Moving on.
Wanting to impress, too. Wanting to show out.
Right. 5-star Sean Wade, cornerback from Jacksonville, Florida, 6'1". They got him at 177. I imagine they got him on a seafood diet right now, like seafood, eat it. Jeff, your take on Sean Wade?
You go down the line, it's pretty much, you plug in the same words for everyone. Great athlete, great cover corner, just naturally knows, just naturally plays man-to-man coverage. Another kid that, depending on how he fills out, because he will fill out, it might be a safety. We're going to have I think a lot of these guys are, with their frames, are going to be versatile to move to safety, move to corner. He's big, long, very fast. Another great kid too. I mean, he comes, a lot of these kids, mother and father, like a lot of kids aren't, but a lot of kids we're getting, they're coming from a good home. Hopefully, you don't hear of any bad juju about any of these guys.
Right.
So, not sure if he's on campus now.
Yeah,
but it's hard to say coming out of spring if he redshirts or not. But definitely looks like a couple years.
You got to see how he makes the transition. Some of these kids probably it takes them a little while to get used to a Coach Mick, and some excel more in winter workouts in spring, and others kind of don't as much. This kid though, that's why I think Okuda or this kid at some point is going to be starting.
I agree. I think they
I
both
don't think they're both going to be starters. I mean, boy, it'd be tough to have two true freshmen corners out there. But I think both these kids can play. I mean, USA Today Defensive Player of the Year, all these other stuff. I mean, this kid is good.
Yeah, he's got all the accolades.
And he's good in a spot where I don't know if Ohio State is that good. So,
yeah, I agree. It wouldn't break my heart if we did have two true freshmen starting at corner when you look at our depth chart right now. But let's save that for another show. Wyatt Davis, 5-star offensive guard. I believe he played tackle out of St. John's Bosco in SoCal. 6'5", 310. Another one of these guys that looks built, ready to play. Sean, what do you think of Wyatt?
He shot up the rankings charts. I remember when I first started looking at this class, even when we first selected him, he was a 4-star kid. I mean, a real good kid, but he wasn't up there, and he shot up. So I didn't watch his senior tape. It must have been good. What's the legacy? How do we get a kid from St. John Bosco?
I believe his grandparents, no, I'm thinking of Tate Martell. I'm not sure the connection to Ohio State, honestly.
That's a huge get, so he's dominated. He's a kid. Is he in school? He's not. Davis is not enrolled, which sucks.
No.
I think he could push because I think we got a lot of holes on that O-line, but I don't see him playing that much this year. I don't, because he's getting in late.
Right, and we shouldn't be starting another freshman offensive lineman 2 years in a row. Sorry, moving on, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, if he's ends up starting it just coming in the fall, it means all the linemen returning, the 4 returning, haven't developed then, and then that's
we're in big trouble.
Shot at the coach. So, same thing. I would love to see him, coming in, filling up another guard spot. Him and Michael Jordan. You figure for another 2 years or 3 years possibly. 6'5", 310, ideal size to play anywhere on the line. Really.
If he comes in and dominates, maybe he cracks it too deep midway through the season.
Mm-hmm. Possibly. But not being an early enrollee
he'll definitely
hurts him.
What it is also going to do is it's going to add more playable depth. Whereas this year, we played the same 5 all year because there wasn't anybody to push them. Mm-hmm. At least we're going to have Wyatt Davis and some others now pushing those 5 that are starting. Hey, if you fall off or you have some bad games, you start to struggle, there is a guy that we can put in there. There's going to be a little bit of a threat to, maybe lose your spot if you don't get your shit together. Whereas this year it seemed like those five knew there wasn't anybody that could come in for them. So complacency. So hopefully adding depth. But yeah, I mean, it's stud. I mean, if the people that know, in the know-how give him 5 stars and say he's one of the best players in California, I'll go along with that and expect him to develop into an all Big Ten lineman at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's move on to Trayvon Grimes, 6'3", 202, wide receiver from Fort Lauderdale, St. Thomas Aquinas. Jeff, your opinion on Grimes?
I think this was one of Urban Meyer's targets for about 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Just a must-have. I think he said we need this. We have to have this kid. He's a game changer. Coming off the ACL and coming in the fall. Not sure how much he's going to be able to add to us, especially early on. But a kid that definitely we might see without a red shirt and playing later in the year, like a Benjamin Victor this year starting to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely going to be pushing for playing time.
Yeah. Sean, your take on Grimes? Is he a nightmare for defensive backs or what?
I don't know. I feel like we have the same conversation every year. Trayvon Grimes, to me, is the perfect kid I want to come to Ohio State. He's a stud. He's got all the talent. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Keeps that pipeline to Aquinas going for us, which we need and I love. But coming off the knee, another high-ranked wide receiver that maybe gets to touch the ball a few times here and there. I love that he's a Buckeye, but I don't get that excited about any receivers, I guess.
You saying they aren't important?
No, it's just none of the new guys that we've had come in. I'm snake bit on it, man.
All right. Yeah.
Somebody show me something. I hope Trayvon Grimes is the one. But I've been saying this guy was going to be the one, and this guy, none of them are.
That's true. I agree. Yeah. We'll see. Jeff, did you get your 2 cents?
Trayvon, prove me wrong.
Jeff, did you get your
Sean put in 4 cents. We're good.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. 4-star running back out of LaGrange, Texas, J.K. Dobbins, 5'10", 200 pounds, was very adamant about correcting one of the reporters the other day in his interviews. He's up to 208, so will not be shortchanged his 8 pounds. Sean, Mr. Dobbins.
I like this kid. LaGrange, Texas. One, I like we're getting all these kids from Texas. I think this kid could see the field.
I'm with you there.
I don't think he redshirts, just for the simple fact I think we've got some talent here, but we don't have a ton of bodies.
Yep.
And if, God forbid, Weber or who's the other guy, if they get hurt, someone's going to have to carry the football.
Exactly. I agree.
I think this kid can do it. Hopefully he's not a fumbler like them freshmen like to be sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to have the size, the speed. Everything I've seen on this kid is he could contribute. I don't think he's going to overtake anybody this year, but I think he comes in and shows some flashes, and he'll probably end up being a full-time starter at some point in his career at Ohio State.
Yeah, he's a freak athletically. Jeff.
Yeah, speaking of athleticism, he won the skills challenge at the opening. Out in Oregon, where the best of the best all go, the Nike opening. He won the skills challenge. Those are the elite athletes in the country. Okuda, for the record, finished second.
Yeah.
In that. But he's as athletic, if not more, than Curtis Samuel. We'll see if he has that same ability to make big plays in big games. I don't see him redshirting this year either, because of the lack of depth between that tailback and that H spot. Look at Weber, Antonio Williams, McCall, and Dobbins. I don't think you can afford to redshirt him. Get these kids on the field. There's going to be some injuries. People are going to get nicked up.
Yeah.
I think you got to have him ready. I think he can contribute as well. These level of kids that we're getting they're not developed. They're not like big development projects.
Yeah.
These kids, we're getting kids, this class especially, that's ready to come in and play.
Yeah, I should note that he's an early enrollee too.
Yeah, and I guess Coach Mick already has a nickname for him, Meatball.
Right. That's awesome. So let's look at Josh Myers, our first Ohio guy out of Miamisburg. 6'6", 306, offensive guard. Dropped down to a 4-star, was a 5-star, and people start shuffling their ratings around, and I think it's somewhat unfair to the kid, but hopefully they don't dwell on it much. Sean, your opinion on Josh Myers?
Well, my first opinion is, when did they fucking change him to offensive guard? Like in the last 2 weeks? Because he's always been listed as an offensive tackle.
He played tackle in high school, but they project him as a guard in college.
Really, at 6'6"?
I
He
know.
played for like a road grading high school, right? Where they run the ball.
Triple option. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're probably like, all right, right now the kid knows how to run block. Make him a guard.
Yeah. So he definitely needs to work on those pass blocking skills.
Yeah, early enrollee, he's in learning the program, getting familiar with the coach. We'll see how this offensive line shakes out through the spring, with 4 returning and Price moving to center. So, the right guard position is open now. You never want to have back-to-back true freshmen starting, but, we'll see. He's definitely going to add depth. I anticipate him being in the 2 deep.
Okay. Interesting.
We'll see how injuries and development shakes out. But
all right. This is the star of the class, Tate Martell. They got him listed at 5'11", 203, obviously a quarterback. I think that 5'11" is slightly generous by an inch or an inch and a half, but we all know this guy. He's all over the place. He's a virtual rock star coming into the program out of Vegas. Jeff, your take on Martell?
I think he played a huge role in getting a lot of these kids. He was a big-time recruiter for us. He can run like a deer. I still obviously any quarterback under 6 foot, you just worry about having the frame and the ability to get passes down the field. Just because you've seen our struggles the last couple of years, but he makes plays. He's a big time playmaker. I don't see him. Collier's now gone, so you're looking at JT for another year and Haskins, and Burrow. I mean, Burrow hasn't done anything to lose ground. So, hopefully it all works out with Martell, and he stays happy and not discouraged that if he doesn't see the field the first 2 years, I'd hate to see any of our quarterbacks, leave and try to go to someplace for more playing time. But
right.
He's a natural leader. Like a lot of the kids, they follow him. Like I think that played a big role in the recruiting. Like I said, he knows how to lead, and he's a huge playmaker. So
yeah. He's tough. I should also mention he's undefeated as a starter in high school.
I know. Is that 43-0 as a
man.
starting quarterback?
Jesus.
And 113 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, rushed for 35 more touchdowns. Just insane numbers. This kid, I feel like
playing the best competition in the country too.
Yeah, again,
we are so
Bishop Gorman played everyone.
Yeah. It is embarrassing, the depth at quarterback with Emory Jones coming in next year as well. But,
I know. There's going to be 2 really good quarterbacks that don't get to play much football, and I feel sad for whatever 2 it is, because they're all
that's why I see
good
someone.
dudes.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why somebody's going to end up transferring. With say in 2 years, you're still going to be looking at Burrow, Haskins, Martell, and
I have no
Jones,
love lost.
As long
as they don't go to Michigan, no love lost.
That's right. So moving on to Isaiah Pryor, 6'2", 194.
Well, hold on. I got one little thing on Martell yet.
Oh, my bad.
I just don't want – there's a little bit of Johnny football, like you said, opening up.
Yeah.
He's already kind of a virtual rock star coming in. I hope he doesn't Johnny Manziel it, man. I'll worry about that with this kid.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, both on the field and off the field. He's kind of a Johnny run-around guy.
Make shit happen.
That shit doesn't play in Herb's offense.
Well, another thing, too, with the amount of depth we have, Herb will just sit him the fuck down. Whereas at A&M, it was Manziel or nothing. I mean, they didn't have anything before him or even when he was there. So even if Martell gets on the field, say Burrow's a fifth-year senior or a senior backup, and you got Emory Jones pushing Martell, say, if Martell he starts acting crazy, then we're going to have the depth to go to someone else. And
but
Myers
they say that Haskins has got a cannon and looks good too.
Right.
Well, I'm picturing Haskins leaving early. I'm picturing Haskins being a starter after JT and leaving his first year of eligibility. Because I think Haskins will be the starter next year. Yeah. The year after JT. Yeah.
Huh?
So just that we have so much depth. You're not gonna, this guy wants to act like a fool. Any of them, at any position, we're getting to that point where, hey, look, we don't need your shit, bro. We got somebody just as good behind you, so you can have a seat.
Yeah, same here with Isaiah Pryor, adding more needed depth to that secondary. Herb's throwing a ton of quality bodies at that position, both safeties and corners. 5-star from Lawrenceville, Georgia, 6'2", 195. Talk to me about Mr. Pryor, Jeff.
Looks and acts like a grown man. Played at IMG Academy, which is almost like a college program. It seems like the way they train, the way their schooling is, and the amount of the talent that they play. Early enrollee, another it's a broke record. Another good kid, got his shit together. Got the body now. Play safety. A lot of upside. And another kid that was our number one target at safety. We're going after him, I think, as a sophomore. Herb got, he got the quarterback he wanted. He targeted on Martell, got him. Targeted on Pryor as a safety, got him. Okuda at the corner spot, got him. Josh Myers, Wyatt Davis, guard and tackle, got him.
Wade was committed 2 years, for over 2 years.
Wade, yeah. So these are the guys. We got the guys that they zeroed in on from day one, saying this is the guy we want at this position. Isaiah Pryor, he's just another one of those guys. So he didn't fall off. He didn't fall off on development, whereas Herb and those guys might have had some reservation. They wanted him the last minute the same as they did when they first met him. So obviously the kid's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Could see the two deep this year. I like seeing him and Fuller in 2 years being our safeties.
Yeah.
And that see what shapes out with maybe Okuda or one of the other corners if they move to safety. But
this kid's dad played DN for Iowa under Hayden Fry. So I think he has solid parents. Mm-hmm. I think this kid is why I say I don't think Okuda will switch to safety because this kid's already going to be there. Yeah, like you said, Jeff, with Fuller and Smith, Hooker gone. One of these kids is going to be in the 2 deep. I think Pryor's in there.
Yeah, interesting.
The kid was our target. From day one, they were on this kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's get on to Haskell Garrett out of Vegas. Another Bishop Gorman kid, 6'2", 288, defensive tackle. Sean, your take on Haskell?
Hey, any defensive tackle that we get in the 4-star range is a good get by me. Obviously, you guys mentioned it earlier. The whale Wilson left us on signing day, but this Haskell Garrett, I like him. 6'2", 288 is what they got him listed at now. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be able to stuff up that run, let these crazy linebackers do what they do. Does he make the 2 deep? I don't know. We got a few guys there. Two guys always seem to go down at D tackle for us at least, though. So Can he get in late in the season? Maybe, but with the young talent we've got there, I don't see him contributing much.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff, your take on Haskell Garrett?
Another big, real athletic. More of, I think, I haven't seen a whole lot of video on him. Just I watched a couple of Bishop Gorman games this year just because there's so many kids to keep an eye And there's so many kids jumping off the screen at you, it's kind of hard to watch the D line.
Mm-hmm.
But and not coming in early, he'll be in the fall. I picture this being, because of our depth, being a red shirt. Whereas we get 3 years of production out of him, and then he's gone. I think he leaves as a redshirt junior. I know I'm just looking down the road a ways, but if he develops, should be a solid run protector or run defender. We just got so much depth on the D line right now. I don't see him taking over a Draymond Jones, or I don't see him. Yeah, that's why I think he redshirts this year, just because of the depth we have right now.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's move on to Brendan White, 6'2", 200-pound athlete from Powell, Ohio. Looking at him for probably the walkout linebacker, Darren Lee type position. Also is currently practicing with the receivers right now. So interesting to see which direction his career goes. Jeff, go ahead and break down Mr. White.
I have watched some video on this kid. I don't, with the depth we have at linebacker, I would be kind of excited to see what he can do at receiver. I don't know how much straight speed he has, but he's real quick in and out of breaks. He looks really, really fast. Just the way he's running routes and stuff, and he's big, strong, physical. He one of those dudes with with those huge hands that just kind of, they go up and attack the ball and just he doesn't let the ball come to him. He goes and gets it. He's playing, going against 7-on-7s, just shirt and shorts. He is twice as big almost, it seems, as the DBs. I never saw a DB go up against him that was his size. He's a man child. I think he could be a dynamic player either side of the ball. He actually got to practice with the team because he was enrolling early, so he got all the bowl practice time with the squad as well, which for player development, that's got to be huge. Mm-hmm. So he could be one of those sleepers of the class, kind of like a Darren Lee, whereas Darren Lee wasn't talked about at all on sign day, as far as look at that big haul they got. Yeah. He turned out to be one of our best.
You think if they put him at linebacker, he's got a better shot to crack the two deep versus receiver?
I don't. I think
I don't know. I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say because I haven't. The only video I've watched of him was playing receiver.
I think he's so good and so dynamic that he's going to be a kind of wait and see guy. I disagree that he's under the radar like D. Lee a little bit in that. Other than they don't know where he's going now, and they knew D. Lee wasn't going to be a quarterback. But this kid can play anywhere. He could stay the same height and weight and play safety. I think they're waiting to see where they need him. Unless they're in there and saying, look, this kid's going to grow. We're going to need to throw 25 pounds on him. Mm-hmm. And then he's a linebacker. Yeah. If he's gonna add 10 more pounds, then maybe he's a receiver. If he's going to play safety, he stays. He's where he's at. But I think he's such a find. He's going to be a stopgap in multiple positions because he can kind of do everything. I think he's that much of an athletic talent.
Yeah,
local kid. Love it. Can't wait to see this guy wear the scarlet and gray.
Yeah. Should have mentioned.
Love seeing these local Columbus kids
and legacy
Columbus kids staying around.
Yeah, his dad played corner at Ohio State. Moving on to Kendall Sheffield, 6', 185 corner. This kid's story is pretty cool. Started off as a 5-star recruit with Bama a couple years ago. Was redshirted, and for whatever reason, coaching changes and whatnot, decided to leave Bama inexplicably. Went to Blinn College in Texas. Is originally from Texas, and now he's a 4-star Ohio State Buckeye. Jeff, your take on Kendall Sheffield?
Yeah, definitely excited about him from watching. So his name kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere. So I started watching some videos. Dude's electric. I can see why he went to Bama and why Bama took him because they get the best of the best, of course. Didn't really know the story as far as why the exodus from Bama. I didn't. You always kind of worry when you hear about junior college at a big program. Like what went wrong? Did he not get along with someone? Does he have an attitude problem? Was he in trouble? You always wonder. But I haven't really heard any negative stories about him.
Yeah.
Just that, like you said, kind of just for whatever reason left the program.
I think it was coaching changes.
Kirby Smart leaving, or
with this defensive coaching changes.
Maybe eligibility though, because the one question I have on Kendall Sheffield is, if you're a JUCO transfer, why the fuck aren't you in? Why don't you transfer now and come to spring, or come to winter workouts in spring ball?
He'll be in March.
Well, and that's weird too, because in March that doesn't line up with a semester start,
right?
Does it?
I don't believe so.
I mean,
but
it seems like an odd time. Now he's getting in for spring ball, which is going to be great. We're going to see him in pads in spring, but it just seems like an odd deal as far as when he's coming in.
Said, if this kid were in school early, he would be right there with Okudah and Wade. This kid, I remember him from when he was recruited. I know we tried recruiting him a couple years ago when he went to Bama. This kid is just as good as Okudah and Wade, from coming out of high school at least. He's got this.
Yeah,
skill
I think.
If you go back and
just
look, I'll bet
he's
the top one or in the top 3 corners in the country when he was coming out.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's another one of those plug and play guys. Could be in there in the mix in the 2 deep by fall camp. So
good luck to Ward and Arnett.
There's no red shirt.
Their positions, man. They got some dudes coming in.
Yeah, they are filling their shorts right now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So let's continue on with the cornerback position. Amir Reap from Cincinnati.
We got another one?
Yeah. They're just throwing fucking stars at that position, man. 5'11", 185, so a little smaller than the other recruits at corner. Needs to put on some weight probably. Hopefully he'll grow.
Still good size though.
Yeah. But Jeff, your take on Amir Reap out of Cincy?
Yeah, 5'11", 185. There's a lot of corners in the NFL that are 5'11", 185.
Oh yeah.
One of the coolest things that I heard about this kid on signing day, he said, "Fuck that fax machine." He drove from Cincinnati up and hand delivered his letter of intent to Coach Coombs. I thought that was pretty cool. Cincinnati kid, kind of one of those Buckeyes. Grew up a Buckeye fan. Probably it seems like one of those kids is going to do everything he can for the program. Don't know about if he's ever going to become a starter. Well, it depends on how he develops and all these other guys. I mean, you bring in that many studs at that position the same year, we're not going to have 4 corners starting. So, but great. Seems like a great kid. Really seems like a diehard Buckeye, and we definitely need those kids. Probably going to end up being maybe not a frontline starter, but probably a captain by the time he's a senior, because he's one of those Buckeye kids that like a Craig Fada or Joe Berger, somebody like that. Those kids are kind of like the heart and soul of the team. That very well respected in the locker room. I could see he's an early enrollee. No, not an early enrollee. I was thinking of the other guy, but definitely going to add very, very high quality depth to that position, and see how it shapes out. Some guy has a career-ending injury. I think we're not going to be falling off too much in the talent pool. He's going to be a quality guy that can play for us.
Right.
I like him. Kid out of Coleraine. We lose a lot of those Cincinnati kids, it seems, to Notre Dame and other programs. love that we plant flags in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Love planting flags in Cincinnati. It's tough down there. I think that's the toughest. That and Cleveland, I guess, two toughest areas to recruit. Or we lose a lot of kids out of there. But the second thing I like about this kid is that I thought he was kind of a shoe-in to Michigan State at one point, waiting on that Buckeye offer. And I know a bunch of my buddies up here, they were just heartbroken when Reap signed with us. So they thought this kid was, hung the moon. Granted, they don't get a bunch of Sean Wades and Akutas like we do. But they think
they depend on those Cincinnati kids.
And Michigan State's had some pretty good corners run through that program. So if they were thinking he could be one of those guys, then you never know how he's going to blossom. Some guys grab that fucking bull by the horns, and who knows?
Yeah.
But it'll be a tall order. He'll earn it. That's for sure.
Definitely. Moving over to the other side of the ball with a wide receiver out of Cleveland, Jalen Harris, 6'5", 210. Jeff, your take on Jalen?
I love the size.
Yeah.
The size jumps out more than anything. Just he's fast. Has a almost like a personal trainer that he works out with. Saw a video of his workout routine with the sled with weights on it, working on explosion out of his brakes.
Really?
This kid. I mean, these kids just finished their senior year in high school. Probably don't know if they run track or not, but these kids are training with professional trainers, working on explosion and everything. I know when I was after my senior year, I was just wanting to kick it. It's like football's over.
Yeah.
These guys are working hard. He's legit. He's a legit 6'5", 210 at least right now. Just it's hard to say which one of these 6'3+ guys are going to develop. We got so many of them coming in now. Just excited. But you never know. Receivers, it seems, are almost the biggest crapshoot, I think. Sure. How they pick up the college game, where their heads are at. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to say, but definitely excited about the prospect of his size and ability.
Sean, your take on Jalen Harris?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was our fourth targeted guy, essentially. It was Grimes, Tyjon Lindsey, Peoples-Jones were, I think, just a few of the couple that were ahead of him. And he knew that. He got the late offer, jumped on board. I like him. I think, fill that room up. Like I said, somebody do something. So, if Jeff, what you just said about the workouts and I love to hear that. So, Godspeed, young man.
Yes. Back over to corner. If we haven't talked about the secondary enough today, Marcus Williamson, 5'9", 180, little undersized cornerback out of Westerville. Jeff, your take on Marcus?
Went down to IMG Academy down in Bradenton again for just a senior year or maybe 2 years.
Just senior year.
Not sure, but just senior year.
Yeah.
So played, against the elite talent. I'm sure the Buckeyes had their eye on him prior to his move down there. Good friends with all those guys. All those DBs have already seemed to have grown a relationship, a close relationship to each other. Like they all wanted to, like I said, just added just another piece to that could possibly be historical DB class. It's hard to say. It's all about development. He's got a lot of talent around him. So any of them got the talent, are good enough to become starters at Ohio State and be productive players. It's who balls out more. He's athletic. He's really fast. He's athletic.
But 5'9", how good of an athlete must he be at 5'9"? He was invited to the opening. I mean, they're not giving those invites to anybody. This kid must be, and I haven't watched a ton of tape on him, but for 5'9", he must be a fucking stud. So hopefully hopefully we've had some small cornerbacks in our past that were big players and big hitters, and maybe this guy's that. The 5'9" concerns me, but everyone else seems to love him. So good local kid, love it.
Yeah. All right, moving back up to D tackle here, Jerron Cage out of Cincinnati, another Cincy kid. Nice to pull somebody out of there again. 6'2", 275, so a little smaller than Haskell Garrett, but same height. Sean, your take on Jerron Cage?
About the same as Haskell. I think Haskell would get in probably before Cage, but I like Cage. Everything I read about him, this kid's a beast. Another kid out of the Cincinnati area, and I don't think he's going to see the field much this year. Barring, a bunch of injuries at that position. But next year, I could see him contributing for sure.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Jeff?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I don't, probably a red shirt this year just because we got to red shirt some of these guys. But there's gonna be one lower ranked kid in this class that really blossoms and develops and outperforms some of the 5-stars. It's gonna happen. Could be that sleeper. I think it's gonna be Brendan White. Just because Jerron Cage is just kind of almost an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, and we got an Ohio DT on top of the kid from Gorman. But he, you never know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you probably redshirts this year, and then you see how they develop in the program. Yep. More kids if we just rip the hearts out of Michigan State fans with Reeb, Jerron Case, because they feast on Cincinnati because they take all the Ohio kids that they can, right. So they don't have their own goddamn talent.
Right. Well, D'Antonio coach there.
Fuck them. Who cares?
Moving on to linebacker out of Indy, Pete Werner, 6'3", 220. Jeff, your take on Peter? Hey, Peter, man.
real fast, runs to the ball, great. Possibly another red shirt. With falling behind guys like Nick Connor and Justin Hilliard and all them. But tall, good build. Came from Cathedral, right? I think that's one of the big time schools in Indianapolis. Yeah. I mean, it's not a hotbed for high school football, but same school I believe that Terry McLaurin came from. I'm sure he played some of the best talent against some of the best talent in Indiana. Don't know a whole bunch about him because he came in, kind of later in the process. But if the Buckeyes jumped at the chance to get him, I'll take the coaching staff's thoughts on him. If they think he was a must get, and willing to let go of the kid we let go of to go to Michigan State, then I'm sure they know he's a player. So excited to see how he develops.
This is my sleeper of our class. Not for this year. I think it's too deep for him to get out there this year. And is he in school? No, it doesn't look like he is. So but I love his skill set. I think next year he could crack that too deep, but I think he could go above the Connors and that of the world. If this kid puts the work in, the sky's the limit. I think he's going to be a starting linebacker at Ohio State at some point in his career. Even jumping higher ranked kids than him. But I'm with you, Jeff. I think from here and on down on the rest of these recruits, these are all guys that they might not, have the high numbers as some of our guys, but there's something about the rest of these guys going down this list that the coaches really like. And to me at first, if I don't look more into it, I see someone like Pete Werner right when we signed in, I'm like, what the hell are we getting this guy for? And then you watch the tape, and then you hear an interview or something like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. they like this kid.
Yeah, the pieces kind of come together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's shuffle on down to Massillon for Thayer Munford, offensive tackle, 6'6", 320. As we mentioned, the sole Ohio State signing day commit. Jeff, your take on Thayer Munford?
I know Coach Stud's real high on him. Don't know a whole lot about him, but he's gonna bring depth. He's got great size. I believe he's more of a run blocking tackle. So see how he develops. I want to see more development out of these kids. Hopefully, I'll have a lot more optimism, I guess, if we see big development from our starters this year. That to have more confidence in these guys coming into their sophomore years, a year from now, just to see if our coaching staff can develop them and get them ready. But probably a starter down the road. He's got the offensive tackle size right now. So, but hopefully, just another guy to add depth and to push these starters.
Much needed. Great Ohio kid. I'm with you. I think he's a kid that maybe plays above even his rating. 6'6", 320, not in school right now. So I don't think he's going to contribute much this year. But I like it. Stud fought that hard for him. I'm a little irritated with Stud, frankly, from last year's O-line performance. But this one's all his, man. This was his guy that, Meyer probably would have forgot about this guy. So, this is Stud's guy. Yeah. And so I wish him well, and I hope Stud develops him. And maybe that's what he saw in the kid.
Yeah.
And we can't forget that these kids are all still 4-star kids. It's not like we're getting 2 and 3 stars just to round out the class.
Right.
These are all still 4-star kids, so it's not like going to be a big surprise if any of them develop into all-league or all-American performers.
Yeah. Yeah, and just rounding out the class here with the late ad at receiver, Elijah Gardner, 6'5", 185, a little slender, out of Kemp, Texas. Jeff, your take on Elijah?
Haven't gotten the time to really go in depth on too much on this kid. I like the size. To go after a kid that was already committed to an SEC school. Now, if you consider Missouri an actual SEC school,
I forgot.
But to go after a kid that's already committed, they must have saw something they liked. I think that goes into how well we do recruiting at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. To know about this kid, to see if he's got interest. Obviously, he had some interest in Ohio State, so they said, okay, full court press, we need another receiver. Let's get him. Things didn't work out with a couple of other guys they brought in. So, like I said, another thing, development. He's another 6'5", would you say 6'4", 6'5", 185? Crazy athletic, though. Yeah. Did see a couple just excerpts of highlights.
He's like basketball.
So a film study thing with Josh Kerrigan. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and Herb loves getting those guys that excel at other sports. Devin Smith was a 2-time state champion high jumper. He looked pretty good on the deep ball his last couple years at Ohio State.
Yeah,
so.
He did all right.
Well, look at this kid. He did all this stuff in track. He played basketball. Got all these honors in basketball. He's playing football. So this is a kid, a classic underrated kid. It's not going to any of the camps because he's doing a sport that he's in. And so he gets overlooked, doesn't get the star ratings. I think everybody loves this kid, and I think he's one of them under the radar. And I frankly probably don't see a ton of difference between this guy's ceiling and Trayvon Grimes' ceiling.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Last but possibly least, kicker Blake Heibel, 6'3", 200, so he's got some size to him, out of Buffalo, New York. Been committed for quite a while. Anything to say about this kid?
Yeah, welcome aboard. We need you.
Yeah, he was one of the highest rated kickers in the country. So, we needed to get a kicker. And I'm not too worried about a freshman kicker versus a senior kicker. That doesn't, having a true freshman starting or being our kicker doesn't He doesn't. If he's gonna get rattled by the moment, he's gonna get rattled when he's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think kicking. You could be 18, you could be 35. If you're gonna get rattled by the moment, you're gonna get rattled, from the pressure. I don't think your inexperience in the college level or anything like that plays a part. So he's one of the top rated kickers in the country. We needed one, or went and got one.
No, it serves same rotation. Every year he's going to take a kicker, a long snapper, a punter. He just does that. I think he does it perfectly. Doesn't overload it, but every class there's somebody. And
we do need. I am curious what we're going to do about punting though, because do we? I
think last year's class we had like the best punter in the.
Did we get a punter last year?
Yeah,
I think
Drew
so.
Chrisman.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind then. My bad. I forgot we got a punter. I did not remember us getting him. So.
He did have to pay his own way.
Then I think since they're punters, they're like, you always have one or two walk-ons, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and we have Nürnberger coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Kicking, and he was a highly rated kicker as well, but he was bad with injuries last year. Mm-hmm. So we have two kickers.
Everybody's a highly rated kicker until they're not.
Until they can't make field goals. Yeah.
Right. So not much else to say about him.
Nice.
Just hopefully he can help us.
That is your 2017 recruiting class, folks. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that Extravaganza Blowout coverage of our new 21 Buckeyes. If you haven't subscribed yet, please find us on your favorite podcast app. And you can also find us at thebuckeyecast.com. And please jump on our email list.
See you in April.
Yeah.
Happy Chinese New Year.
We have affiliates. Don't forget to check out our affiliates page on the website and also the affiliates in the show notes for today's podcast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Jeff and Sean. Enjoyed it. And we will be back in a couple of weeks with a show where we will talk about the two deep, and we won't leave you hanging. All right. Take care,
y'all.
boys.
Peace.
See you.
All right.
It's fun time.